I think we were on a time crunch. Go ahead and start with you, Chantel. Or actually, it's for all you guys. What was your most transactions in a year, and how did you make that happen?
So that's gonna be 2 years ago, which was my first year of real estate. I did 42 transactions. About killed myself, but it was all social media.
Social media?
Every single one of them,
Okay.
yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
So I guess I'm kind of the weird one in the bunch. I actually was just talking to Frank about this. I work really hard to not work hard. My highest production units is about 25, but that year I did about 10 million. So it's like it was like 9.8, something like that. So it's like, it depends on how hard you work at it to, turn around and not have to do as many physical unit transactions. But that being said, I'm about to talk about social media, so what would I be without saying that I got there without the use of social media? But it's actually mostly, which is gonna be what I kind of talk about, it's actually community involvement more than it is social media. So my social media has taken off and helped build a longevity of a career, but it has to come from your face being in your community and being like just authentically who you are.
Nice. Brianna?
So my best year was in 2022. We did about 50 transactions, but like you, I'm a little weird too. So that was actually done from me living in North Carolina, being an agent in Alabama. Well, we'll go into it from the other questions, but that's to answer the question.
So for me, my personal best year was 36 transactions, about 21 million. But I do have to give credit to our team because we have an incredible team of 168 transactions for 58 million.
Wow, that's amazing, and that is all great production. Like I tell everybody, last year was one of my lower production years. I think I did 25, but I had a lot of time for my family. The years before when I was in California, I pumped out 34 units, which transactions out there are a lot more difficult in California for disclosures for whatever reason, but I was working like a dog. So you guys want to make sure you guys are building a business that makes sense for you, your family, and your business. Because at the end of the day, what are we doing this for? More likely for our families. Now, what are your top 3 lead sources?
My only lead source is social media, honestly. Well, and past clients.
It's working good.
And it's working really good, honestly, yeah.
Awesome.
Definitely social media, community involvement. So I guess that would kind of fall into like an SOI, like a who you know kind of thing. And then obviously like past clients and just my database overall. So I think that that's mostly where most of my business comes from and where I spend most of my marketing dollars and energy.
For me, referrals, driving for dollars, and public records. And it's no limitations on what public records can be.
Let's see, top 3 lead sources for me, personal sphere and past clients and referrals, and we have a performance-based account with Zillow, so we're on Zillow Flex.
Nice.
Those are our top 3.
Awesome. Now, what tools should every agent or team use in their business? For example, CRMs, what type of CRM you're using, websites, dialers, ads, etc.
I actually really like Bossa, and to be completely honest, I didn't find out about CRMs until last year, and I was like, man, I've been cheating myself because it's like you're in this go, 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 and then you forget that those past clients are the best. Like, it's the sisters, the brothers, the uncles moving from every which way, and recently I've had, we just moved here, and now the grandparents want to follow. So it's always making that connection and then that follow through. So CRMs are amazing.
So I'm gonna take it one step further than just CRMs, which we've heard the whole day, talking about CRMs, talking about databases, but you have to have something you're gonna use. But I wanna take you outside of the box and think about it a little bit differently. Have a venue. Have a venue for where your CRMs can go. Because you need to be doing annual events with your clients. Like you were talking about taking them to the hockey games. I host an annual event. I'm lucky enough to own a business locally, so I kind of have a free venue. So I do a wine and paint studio event with all of my past clients, and I usually will book out 2 or 3 days so I can fit all of them in. And I actually send it out to my clients and have them vote on like their top painting. I send out like 4 paintings, and I say, hey, pick from these 4 paintings, what do you want to do? Typically around holiday time, it's typically a monogram or family name, so they get to personalize it and make it their own. And we do about 3 classes, and we get everybody in, and then they love it, and then they get to get drunk and paint. So.
Heck yeah.
One time, so for my lead sources, I would highly encourage a dialer, and that's simply because doing that, it gets old very quickly. So having a dialer that can manage, not only manage, if it doubles as a CRM, that's completely awesome too. And then also, when we talk about websites, I would highly encourage like a funnel of some sort to funnel that information to you, whether you're utilizing social media or just having a social media presence online. You can absolutely use a website, but going that step further is a landing page so you can capture that information.
I love that too. So I think definitely a CRM with a dialer, but you need to be able to go back and listen to your conversations. If you aren't actively role playing and listening to your conversations and how you can improve, I think that's a huge missed opportunity. But I also think that, and I'm gonna Jerry this a little bit. I'm gonna go in a different direction. I think you have to time block, and you have to become super disciplined around your time block. Because if you don't time block and you don't manage your time, you're gonna mismanage everything else. So all these tools are great and wonderful, but if you aren't disciplined with yourself and with your time blocking, it really doesn't matter.
Oh, Deb, I agree with that 100%. Now, what is one book that you would recommend for real estate agents?
You stumped me just now, so I'm gonna let her answer, then I'm gonna go back to it. Sorry.
So I'm gonna be like the horrible person in the room. I don't read. I'm gonna go off with my girl in the back here. Terry, no.
Yep.
Terry?
Yep.
See, I'm really bad with names. I'm getting better, y'all. Something about this ADHD is like it's falling off. I don't know what's happening. So I really don't read a ton, but what I do is I read information. Like you talk about education, that's my whole niche is education, right? So it's not a book, but you need to be involved in every platform that you can provide you education on your industry. Slight plug here, your girl got published in Inman, so you definitely need to be reading Inman. And then you've also got even like HAAR, obviously with the commission conversations happening, we need to be having that at our fingertips. And then obviously like the local HAAR education stuff that comes out. So it's not necessarily a book as much as it is as I just inundate myself with just the education that's available to us.
Awesome.
I think that, just to piggyback off of what you were saying, I think that's so important. And not knowing what NAR offers us is a detriment. So for an example, just by logging on, you can go and apply for a grant that can help you for your business that NAR gives you. And I mean, I've obtained one. So if I can, you can as well. All you have to do is just go and chat GPT, really, or write your grant and go after it. But as far as the book, because I'm a nerd, I read all the time. One thing, a book that I think is very helpful when you're starting off, or if you're an expert in this industry, is 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do by Amy Norman. And it just kind of helps you with emotional intelligence, because we are people, and I know you said take the emotion out of it, but you're helping someone in an emotional state purchase the biggest purchase of their life. So being able to manage your emotions will also help you manage theirs. So I think that that's a great tool.
Yeah, I have 3, so I'm a reader, so I love these. But Atomic Habits, James Clear, The Go-Giver, Bob Berg, I think that is the heart of real estate, honestly.
I love that book.
It's a great book. And then Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss.
Never Split
We
the
likely
Difference.
have many of the same books. Yes.
Yeah, those are all 3. I actually read all 3 of those, all great books. Actually, take that back. Atomic Habits I didn't read, but those 2 were great books. Awesome.
Atomic Habits was mine, so
And
that's
Atomic Habits. So, if you were to start from scratch all over again, what would you tell yourself to do?
Honestly, I think I didn't expect to blossom as fast as I did. And I a lot of people don't know this, but I took 4 months off after my first year because I was just so wore out. Balance. Especially being a single mom, having young kids, finding that balance and, you know, having that grace along with it. I would probably tell myself to slow down and not go so hard so fast, honestly. It was a big blessing, but it was a lot.
Take a step back.
Yes.
Yes. But no. I think if I was to start over and kind of a now me to tell then me, kind of piggybacking, it's the grace thing, right? It's and I don't know where she's at in the room, but she talked about the emotional side of it and don't get emotional over the transactions. I think providing yourself with grace to allow yourself the anger, right? You lost a deal, or the stress that comes along with this industry, it's very real. I think that I would try to not be isolated and think I knew everything, and tell myself it's okay to ask questions and it's okay to ask what did you mean by that? Because your girl didn't know. And stop trying to feel like you know everything in the room or in the conversation. And if I can just go a little bit deeper on that, but it's, I started in the industry of new home sales, and they were like, look, there's just something about you that we just feel is innately good at sales. We want to put you in this really crap neighborhood. And I was like, yeah, thanks, I appreciate that. Didn't know at the time that neighborhood had not seen a sale in 10 months. Not one sale. My biggest objection was across the street was a cemetery. So it took me 9 months, and I sold out of the entire neighborhood. But that first up that came in, I was like that agent that was like, oh, somebody's here, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. And so I was like a brand new golden retriever puppy. And I was like, oh my god, I was almost peeing on myself. So he comes in, and I had my book open, my binder with all the floor plans and stuff. And I was organizing it so the binder was open, the 3 rings were popped. And he comes in, and I'm a hand talker, if you can't tell, I'm almost about to sign things. And I hit the side of the desk, and the binder flips over, paper goes everywhere. I have no clue what I'm trying to explain to this client, because I'm I don't know my floor plans, I've been here for 3 days, I'm so sorry. And I start bawling my eyes out. Those that know me, Jennifer or Chase, y'all know I don't cry. So for me to cry, I was very stressed. So I would just say giving yourself that grace and allowing yourself to fall into that moment and be you know what, I am stressed and I'm gonna take 5 minutes.
Yeah, mine would be probably to embrace the obstacle. Like I mentioned before, the numbers that I did, I wasn't even here doing them. And it really allowed me to, first of all, know that this is what I wanted to do. Because doing that in that manner, and not having the control to say, hey, I want to do this here. But it pushed me to not give up so that I could be able to come here and actually start a brokerage. And just embracing the obstacles and understanding they're gonna come. It's nothing that you can do about it. It's just about your attitude and how you approach it is the biggest thing.
For me, I would start a YouTube channel, super specific to the area. And then I would reverse engineer every social media outlet around my YouTube content.
Awesome, I love that. Now, this one wasn't asked earlier, but there's a reason why I wanted to ask on this time, because Connie just kills it in the luxury market, but I want to hear from you guys as well. How would you recommend agents get into a higher price range?
Ooh, that's a hard one because I feel like my median's honestly been consistently at 350 to 375. The higher price points have been just very random for me, a couple military spouses or my kids' schools. I personally can tell you that I'm not at that higher price point. I would say my highest is $590, and I was man, this is a huge blessing for me. And they were probably the most chill, relaxed people. And I think a lot of people think that with that higher price point, it's a lot of intimidation. And they're normal people just like us. So I think just being comfortable and knowing what you bring to the table speaks volumes.
I think if you're trying to branch out of the median to a luxury market, the thing that really helped me succeed and I've always kind of been like a step above the industry average, and again, that was just from strategic, like working hard to not work hard, right? And so you go where these people are, you involve yourself with their community, and I'm really big on that, I'm gonna talk about that, but you have to be like authentically in that community. You can't be fake, right? Like I serve on the board for a few different charities in town. These are charities that are big and dear to my heart. So it's like, you end up being just naturally around some of the bigger hitters in town when you start involving yourself in different things in your community. And if you strategically place yourself around those people, you then become of value to them because they see you as a person and not as a salesman. And I think that that's like the really big branch for that kind of bracket is, you know, you have your average price point where it's, you know, everybody understands like they're all looking in this price point. So you have buyers and sellers very actively looking to buy or sell. Your higher end price point, it's not as fluctuating, especially in our market, right? You don't have these $2, $3, $4, $5 million houses that come up all the time. But if you are putting yourself in a position where you're providing value to them and they see you as a real person, they are then in turn going to value you to help with their business on the back end.
Perfect response. But in short, I mean, being around I would say your network is your network. So being around the people that you want to do business with is probably the best place to start. But like you said, it's all about value. Personally, and in our brand motto is that luxury isn't a price point, it's a level of service. And yes, the commissions on the higher price points are great, but if you can, I hate to say it this way, but if you're at a lower price point, who's to say that person that's at that lower price point doesn't know someone that's at a higher price point? And if you provide that value to them, why wouldn't they do business with you at a higher price point? So, making sure that you're around the communities that you want to be in and providing that value is invaluable.
Very much the same. So for us, we branded ourselves as the Lux Group before we were ever luxury at all. We were selling mobile homes and with little goats out in the backyard and hammering in a Lux Group sign. But it was what we decided that we wanted to brand ourselves as, and we called it, and we kept calling it, and we kept saying it, and we kept putting it out there, and you build it, they will come, right? So that's exactly what we did from the very beginning. And I think that, since then, like, you have to put yourself in position, and proximity is power. So who you're around, who you're positioning yourself around, and always, always, always conduct yourself with class and understand who you're around. Just bring value to every scenario and every situation, regardless if anyone's buying a home or selling a home. That has been one of our biggest successes.
Awesome. Well, I love all that. You guys all gave some gold on that. And like she said, look, our proximity is power. The people you surround yourselves with is huge. So always keep that in mind. Now, any coaching companies, training courses, or classes you would recommend to your fellow agents?
Kevin is amazing. From the day I met him, I was like, you are goals. The time that he will pour into, so since day one, my biggest struggle has been balance. And when I feel myself going backwards, he's like, no, remember what we're working towards. You're saying you want to take X amount of clients a month, and here I am at not X amount of clients, if I'm wanting to be at 5 and I'm at 7, he's like, Chantel, we had that talk. Where is this balance? So he's poured into me and my business amazingly.
Awesome. I love it.
I would say I'm a part of the Tom Ferry group. I also believe in Ninja selling coaching or like mentorship as well. But to take it one step further, Kevin's local, Tom Ferry's international, Mike Ferry's international, you've got all of these platforms that are readily at your fingertips. You can find a coach that doesn't cost you tens of thousands of dollars a year. Find a mentor within your company, find a mentor within your industry, find a mentor within your niche, and attach to them, right? I'm gonna give you all of my best tips and tricks on video content creation. Do I think you're all gonna go back and do it? No. Am I gonna share it to you because I don't think you're all gonna do it? 100%. So it's meet with somebody. You're not gonna take away the same thing every time, and every person isn't going to do the exact same thing the exact same way. So if you don't have tens of thousands of dollars to spend on coaching, which it can be very beneficial once you get to a plateau in your business, because they're going to, like Kevin's telling you, you know, it's like you don't need yes men in your corner. You need the people who are like, Chase is my man, he's in the back corner. Chase is no, you're not doing enough, get up, go do this. It's like, you don't get to go on vacation. So, you can't have yes men in your corner. Find somebody local, find somebody in your niche, find somebody that you trust and mentor alongside of, and then you can be mutually beneficial, right? You're holding each other accountable. So it doesn't have to be this grandeur thing, it can also start very small.
I agree. So this one actually comes from my husband, because he's a mortgage broker. He took a course with Southwestern Coaching, and they sent him a book, and that book was like one of the best books I've ever read. And so I would say them, because not only did it help his business, but it helped me too. And then Ninja Selling is always a great place to start if you're unfamiliar with different coaching opportunities. But luckily, I have a mentor that is like the GOAT, as the young kids say. So I would just find someone that can give you the resources that you need. And if you can't afford that, it's okay to go to YouTube or university, because there's a lot of resources up there too.
So I've been a part of Tom Berry's organization for a long time. I also really like John Cheplack. You don't know who he is, but you really need to be prepared for him, because he is very much in your face and tough love. So if that's not your thing, that's probably not your coaching program. Tony Robbins is great. I mean, I have to give props to him because he's been around for forever, but he still really, really puts the cookies on the bottom shelf. And I think our corporation company, Sharon Srivatsa, is the best mentor, the best teacher, leader, speaker out there. So I'm gonna go with Sharon all day long.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys all for all that amazing feedback. Now, for an agent that has hit a plateau in their business, what would you recommend them to do?
Put yourself out there. You don't know who you don't know. I have agents ask me all the time, how are you meeting people? I meet people at the gas, this is gonna sound crazy, the gas station, mommy play dates, when I'm out drinking margaritas, and for the longest time, I would hear other agents, I don't give out my business card, I exchange contact information right then and there. I utilize my business card. Yes, there's a picture of me on there, and all my contact information, but my social media, I don't care, right? The most that somebody can say is, I'm not interested. Okay, on to the next one. So putting yourself out there and not being afraid that somebody's not gonna like you, they're not interested, or their sister aunt is, literally we sneeze and there's a realtor right there, right? So you have to not be scared of that backlash that you're gonna potentially get, but go out and try new things. I'm always out networking and putting myself out there.
I would definitely say, kind of caveating on that, is if you've reached a plateau, that means that you've gotten complacent in your business. So you have to do the thing that scares you the most. Whatever that is, do it, and you will feel this surge of energy, this adrenaline rush. You will feel like you just got a shot of adrenaline in your thigh, and you will hit balls to the walls. I promise you, it's gonna change it'll change the way that you look at your business, because you're now gonna have this new baby of a thing that you're gonna want to try to grow, and you're gonna feel that confidence of like, I'm actually doing this thing I thought I never could do. So
I'm a data-driven person, and if you've reached a stopping place in your business, I would highly encourage you to do a SWOT analysis, and that kind of helps you see it so that you can make the change, because people don't generally plan to fail, they just fail to plan. And so if you, oh, is it? Look at that. So if you just take the time out to do that, then you can see where you want to go, and also assess where you've been to see what has worked and what. I'm sorry, you're just like smiling at me. I want to stop that. But doing a SWOT analysis, I think, will take you far. I do them every single month or as needed, so I would highly encourage that.
So if you've hit a plateau, like Lauren said, I think that you need to take a vacation first. We do not take care of ourselves enough in this business. We think we are so hard on ourselves, and we are just gonna dig in even deeper. And I think you're just digging yourself sometimes into an even greater hole. So I'm gonna tell you, take a vacation and then come back refreshed. If you don't have a coach, hire a coach at that point and have them break down every bit of your business and pull it apart and then rebuild it. Because you're gonna need to really reassess every single part of your business to figure out what's working and what's not working. But you need a vacation first.
Awesome, I love that. Now, we'll get into the best part, question and answers.
Well, I can ask questions, I'm not.
Thank
So,
you.
all of you serve the same market?
Yes, I know the three of us do. Are you in?
I'm in Birmingham.
Birmingham, okay.
Do you guys mastermind with 8 people in the area?
I used to, yes. So I used to actually run a mastermind group, and then I moved over to the company I'm with now, and then I kind of helped lead the agents in that group.
Oh, filtering. So one thing that is really always helpful is if you guys are rock stars and you're putting stuff in the market, especially with the newer agents, is to mastermind together. So, I mean, if that's not something you guys do, if you're going into it, I would actually.
Amanda?
I'd love to hear more about how you moved your business or expanded your business and kind of how, just expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So, I became licensed in 2019, starting in North Carolina, and during COVID where everything was shut down, I'm like, okay, I can't sit in the house, so where am I gonna go? Well, the anticipated plan was to move to Georgia, so I got licensed there, and then when it was all said and done, my husband, boyfriend then at the time, we decided to move back to his hometown. And so, in 2020, we actually built a investment company where now it generates all of our leads for our brokerage. And so, again, having a process and putting that process that really works without you doing the work, working smart, not hard, kind of puts you in position to do it from wherever. Because if, honestly, you really can do real estate from wherever, you just really need a showing assistant. So that process for me was just not letting anything stand in the way, no matter what that looked like, and having the processes and the plans and the support in place to get to the next level.
Go ahead, Amanda.
I just have to say, I love seeing such a diverse and incredible panel of successful women up there. I think you are all amazing and you run your businesses in such different. It shows what opportunity there is in this business, that you can do things so differently in so many different ways, and just like to find your thing. It's awesome.
I don't care what anybody says, but real estate is owned by women. 100%. The real estate industry is owned by women.
The residential side of it. The commercial side is male driven.
I do commercial. I think, it is sometimes hard when you go to these, since we're talking about coaching, when you go to a lot of these bigger coaching events, you most often see men. The bigger.
The speakers are mostly men.
The speakers are mostly men, and as a woman, sometimes a single woman or mom with little kids, you see a guy up there who's talking about, getting up and prospecting at 7 o'clock in the morning when you're trying to get kids off to school.
Or making references to Iron Man that come back around and just like make its way through.
Yes, it's often, it's different. So when you can find someone that is like your life and you're looking for balance, or, you can find those mentors that have a life that's more like the one that you want to live.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes it's hard, when you see these people, you can't put yourself in their shoes. That's not gonna work. So when you have the opportunity to see someone and be like, okay, I wanna be like that, I wanna be like that, or I wanna be like that, it gives you a real different perspective and inspiration.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Any other questions? Awesome. Let's get these ladies. Go ahead. Go ahead. One more question.
So I'm doing good, just on Facebook and Reels. But I was curious about, you said you would start the YouTube channel if you could start fresh and then feed that out or reverse engineer. Could you expand on that a little bit for like?
Yeah, so YouTube is going to be the toughest platform to start with. It's gonna be the toughest to gain followers, it's gonna be the toughest to grow. But if you start there, you're gonna wanna shoot long form content on YouTube, and then everything can come from that long form content. So me personally, I would probably plan 2 or 3 days a month to shoot nothing but content, and content specifically towards YouTube. But but there's going to be so many little snippets that are going to be valuable for Facebook, for Instagram, for TikTok that you can use and repurpose for those platforms.
Yep.
Because each social media platform has a different demographic.
Which
So,
we'll get into in like a minute,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is YouTube and TikTok kind of like this or like this?
I literally have those stats, yeah.
Yeah, what?
So that's literally what I'm gonna talk about.
Yeah,
I'm
we're about to
sorry.
go
I
on.
didn't mean
We're
to
about
say
to go on.
I want to give you what I can, and I know we're going like 15 minutes over.
One more specific question.
Yeah,
Since
definitely.
There's a lot of social media answers up there. What would you say a good budget to have, like, for 2 to 3 days of content or making content if you're trying to really build your business off of social?
Are you talking about ad spend, or are you talking about,
Any of it?
are you
Like,
talking about filming the videos?
all of it. Like, if you were to build a business off of social media, spend 2 to 3 days a month making content, what
So
should
instead-
that look like as far as a budget goes?
My personal, which again, we'll dive deeper in just a second, but personally, I don't ad spend on Facebook or any social platform. Because at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to push it out to people who aren't gonna value it, right? I'm reaching my community, and that's who I'm talking to. So I'm not ad spending. And then to get in deeper as far as like equipment and like actual filming and cost of that, we'll get into that in a minute, like my personal opinions on that. You can get really, really high views. Right now I have a video that's pushing 3,000 likes, 80,000 views on it, things like 1,000 comments and like 3,000 shares on it. No money has been put behind it. It's through collaboration. And it's through inviting other people to bring their audience to it too. So.
I don't ad spend either. I've never spent anything on it. I feel like I can utilize that money elsewhere,
Yeah.
honestly.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, ladies. You guys did amazing.